everybody, and welcome back to the Sword of Truth podcast, the chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sword of Truth series with a Winthrop craft brew on the side.
Ooh.
I'm Jade, and I'm here with Nate and Aaron.
Hello!
He's back!
Ah! And today we are making the rounds with chapter 20 of Soul of Fire. Woo! I lost some words in there. If you noticed, pretend like you didn't, and that I'm not saying this.
Well, you got your mouth back. It is now the regular shape.
Yeah, I'm not swollen anymore.
No.
So that's cool. But apparently I still can't talk. So there's that. And our little moment of truth today, I'm just going to be honest, I lied. We're not having Winthrop craft brew today. That was just a clever thing I said.
This is the welcome I get back, as I am lied to immediately.
Absolutely.
I feel at home.
Wait. He's
ready
upset
for that.
about coming back to the podcast and not being presented with a not real beer.
Yeah, you'll get a real beer.
Yeah.
It just won't be like this pretend one.
You will be interested to know that the Winthrop rum has kind of a rummy taste with a rum finish that tastes a lot like rums you've had in the past and some you may yet taste.
Wow.
I deserve that.
That's a fact.
We need to make a sticker with that, like a beer with that as the motto on there.
Oh, man.
You know,
I am getting back into brewing. Maybe we could make that.
I enjoy how pre-recording I had mentioned that I have a few weeks of snide comments to make up for. And I am immediately lied to and made fun of by my two co-hosts.
Well,
It's good to be back.
Welcome back,
It's good
buddy.
to be back.
We missed you.
just to remind you, since you weren't here last week,
Yes,
a
please.
little recap. Claudine got her shit rocked.
That's not funny. It's not funny.
No,
I haven't
not
heard
at all. How
somebody say,
dare you laugh?
got their shit rocked in a minute. So that was a nice treat for me. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Fitch and Morley, for providing that bit of levity for us.
Hey, it's silver linings. You got to look for those
Gotta
silver
find 'em.
linings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this chapter opens. Dalton is at the feast. He's keeping a close eye on the goings on. Claudine is there. She's in an old dress. She's greeting people kind of blankly. She's doing her duties.
Right. She's adhering to the threats.
And a
Yeah.
much more conservative dress, too.
Right.
Much
Yeah.
more conservative.
Right. There is a lot of like text here about how opulent and grand the place is, but we fucking get it, so we're not going to talk about it.
Big building, fancy shit.
Yeah.
We got it.
Oh my God, it looks awesome. Cool. Whatever. Claudine is a businessman's wife, and she's fucking important in her own right, so she knows how to conduct herself even after the traumatic incidents of this evening. Her husband is Edwin Winthrop, and he is old enough to be her grandpa.
Yeah.
So,
Classic Hollywood wedding.
yeah. I mean, that does seem to be kind of the going rate here. Like, all of the men seem to be getting the youngest of the crop.
Yeah,
so to
it
speak.
is a little different than Dalton Campbell, though, because he got with Tess, what did we say, like 10 years ago, something like that, but everybody was above age. This dude got married to his wife, middle teens,
Yeah,
so you could
mid-teens.
say 16,
Yeah.
something like that.
I think that's a generous age.
Between 13 and 19, I guess is what I'm assuming.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this dude, he was a Sargo farmer, which that's a real thing, by the way. It's a cereal native to like warmer places, the grain. So he used to grow that, and then he eventually got livestock. He sold the stock, got stills so he could produce rum with the fucking grain.
Ooh.
Profits from the rum led to warehouses and wagons for transport. So now Winthrop rum is sold all across the lands, from Anderith to fucking Renwald.
It's Winthrop, actually.
There's no E on the end, though, so I don't think so.
We can change it.
Yeah.
The
All right.
ancients actually pronounced it Wintharp, but we'll let it all go.
It's actually a silent R. I know
Yeah.
you don't see it a lot. It's just Winthrop.
Winthrop. He has kept costs low and made a fortune by doing this all himself and not like farming out the work.
Yeah.
Farming out. Yeah. Hey.
I almost laughed, and then I was like, it's not that clever.
It's a way. I mean, there is a thing where like that's a perk sometimes of like a small business or a local business is when you don't have middlemen and third parties to pay for their services, you keep that all in house.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get those margins at a nice big fat number.
Save a lot of dough that way.
Yeah.
It was a little interesting to me. They did point out the fact that he goes, well, I did it all myself. Well, my employees.
Yeah.
So he is still large scale.
Oh, yeah.
He's not like a dude with a farmhouse working a field.
Yeah.
This is a business already.
I think it's established, though, that he was. So people.
That's where it started.
Yeah, people respect him because he didn't have the money. He was a dude with a farm, and then he grew to have farms and warehouses.
Yeah.
The means of production.
Right.
Like he doesn't have to go to Joe Blow down the street and say, "Hey, can I borrow your carriage?" No, he built another carriage and now that's his, and he uses that. No, payments on that. There's no long-term payment, no rentals. Like, no, he buys to own, and then as soon as that's paid off, pure profit, baby.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Smart businessman.
Yeah, and people people like him. People aren't like hateful towards him because he fucking built it from the ground up.
It sounds like a dude that builds it from the ground up and gives like an honest shake for deals and stuff. He's not trying to rip people off. He's like, hey, I'll give you its fair value. He's just doing the math and then applying that where it benefits him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he only got married to Claudine once he was already fucking successful, so he didn't have to worry about that at all.
Right.
She ended up becoming his right-hand man, though. Woman, whatever. And she doubled his empire eventually by being as frugal as he was all along.
This is Sharon Osbourne all day long.
Oh.
Ozzy's not Ozzy without Sharon.
That's
You
true.
know what I mean? The
Yeah.
whole facade of who he is and they've got a record business and the whole bit, and Sharon runs all of that.
Yeah.
Ozzy's just a rock star.
He's just there.
And I'm not trying to say he's the fucking man, but like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
She's like, you do the thing and I will take care of the business. And it works.
Yeah, because eventually Edwin becomes elected Burgess. So he goes from just being this businessman to also being part of the political climate in Anderith. And Claudine, behind the scenes, starts helping to pass laws. And Dalton suspects that those laws that she's helping to pass were actually originally proposed by her in the first place.
Yeah.
But obviously we can't say that because the men are the ones that do all of this.
No,
stuff. So
we're
it's
not
all,
going to say that out loud.
Yeah, it's all hidden behind the scenes. But everybody knows, kind of. It's like a known thing. So nobody thinks of this woman as just entertainment.
Right.
She's not just something to look at or play with.
Yeah, she's not just Edwin's plus one. I mean, obviously, that stereotype is there. They wed when she was in her mid-teens a decade ago. So, she's maybe 25, 26.
Yeah.
Ideally, we'd prefer a little bit older, but, it's the facts are, at 25, she's pulling her, she's a business, maybe not prodigy, but, it's Edwin was doing good and then continued to do good and maybe even better after Claudine came in.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
that's
100%.
impressive that someone who is that successful was like, damn, good idea. Yeah, you know what? Why don't you take point on some of this stuff?
Yeah, he didn't just marry, something to look at. He got an asset. And the only person who thinks of her as entertainment is old Bertie Chambor. But he thinks of all women that way. So
Yeah.
Not surprising.
He thinks of all women as assets. Yeah.
Exactly. So Dalt points out that Claudine, she's wearing a dress that's a little older, a little more modest. Maybe she's not hanging with the fashions. And they go over, I guess I don't know that I mentioned Tess. He's talking to Tess. Sorry.
Right.
So they go over to go speak to her and see what's kind of going on with her. She says she just fell in a fucking hole and messed her dress up.
As you do.
No big fucking deal.
It was a pretty convincing story as far as, you know what? There's a lot of people. Everybody who's making moves and decisions around here knows this is a stressful environment where people are moving and shaking and you have to present a certain way of yourself, right? So it's stressful. So she's like, I don't like this shit. I had to go outside for a little bit. And then I was outside and then fell in a fucking hole. So that kind of explains why she's beat up. Her stomach doesn't feel good. She ruined her dress, and she has an answer for the whole fucking thing.
On one hand, I think it sounds believable because it sounds like something I would do. I would go walk in the dark and then find a hole because I'm not where I'm supposed to be, idiot, and then just like fucking fall. On the other hand, it's not funny, okay, but it's like when people are like, I ran into a door.
Yeah, I fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
I can kind of see this a little easier, though, because it is like around, if not a castle, a very large mansion, right? So they're still going to have dirt roads outside. Like there's not asphalt yet. So there's dirt and probably horse shit from all the carriages that showed up for this thing. And like, it may be rough terrain, but yeah, also, yeah, I just fell in a hole. It's kind of like, you're a lady though. What are you doing walking over there?
That, and we just got done talking about how smart she is.
Oh yeah.
Like, and
it's out of character for her to do something like that.
She works on a farm. She is going to know if you're walking out in the dark, you'd look for holes. Like,
y'all, I didn't see it.
I definitely got the vibe here that like, this is one where like, it's a good enough excuse for the people that aren't paying attention, or the people like Dalton and, Tess. Yeah, I was gonna say Teresa, and I'm like, that is not right.
Well, that is her name, but Tess is her name.
Teresa. Yeah, okay. That made me feel better. But yeah, the people like them, they're gonna know. Like, okay, all I know is that's not true. Because again, I know you work on a farm. I know you're wildly intelligent. You are a business person. You're not nervous by the guests. Something happened to you, which is what Tess. Spoiler alert. That's what Tess finds out.
Yeah, I guess that was what my reaction was. Like, yes, it is plausible. But if I was at a feast with somebody, with another lady, and she just came up and I was like, "You looked hot earlier. Why do you look like this now?" And she's like,
"You look like shit."
I just went outside and fell in a hole. I'd be like, "Bitch, you are not telling me the truth."
Yeah,
but I digress. We'll keep going.
Also, I have been places where I consider myself decently capable when it comes to minor athletic feats, like walking and not falling. But I have also walked, fell, and ruined my dress for the evening. So, I mean, sometimes it happens.
It does. So the whole time that she's talking to them, she does go glance over at Dalton's sword. He did note that she's been glancing at the swords in the room the whole night, which did help me a little bit because at first we kind of didn't know that anybody else was like packing all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Except him and Stein. But apparently it's not uncommon he's not the only person. It's not like Nathan with a sword where it's like, that's weird. Why do you
just
have a sword?
have one?
Yeah.
I think before what we were talking about was that Dalton was maybe the only guy who openly carried a sword. We're saying that's false.
Which is why I thought that Fitch being so open about the sword going down the throat thing might be a little bit of a like, look at the one person with a sword.
Yeah, we thought it was a bit more of a giveaway than maybe it actually was.
Right.
But the reality is she is still clocking all of the swords in the room.
Correct.
Because that threat came from somewhere.
Someone. Yes.
Which means someone with authority with a sword.
I thought you were going to say
is making
with a
this
sword.
threat. I almost did. You know that moment when you talk just a little bit too long and you start to get the mush mouth and you need to swallow and you're like, if I can just get these next 8 words out, I'm fine. That's where I was. Anyways, I have a sword.
I got wonderful. The vibe that like there's people wearing swords that do not know how to use swords because it's like, oh, but I am the man of the house of the business. I will have my sword at my waist. And it's like, dude, you've literally never taken it out of the scabbard. But sure, we'll get that ready for you.
Still has the plastic on it. You're like, bro, that's not. Never mind.
Isn't it cool to keep the sticker on?
I will attack now. How can you get that untied? It's stuck.
I actually really like that. Like they're sword bros, where they don't take the fucking stickers off their swords because they're like, No, this is the expensive sword.
Yeah. That's how you can tell. That's how you know it's fresh.
Got the straight cross guard instead of the curved one.
I mean, hey, more power to you, but I am a traditional, you'd fucking take your stickers off your hats kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's where I come from. My sword would not have stickers on it.
Well, also, if you don't, and like not very long, if you wear that hat, the sun's gonna like fuck your hat. And then when the sticker does come off eventually, your hat's fucked. Anyways, so Claudine swears she's just shaken, but she's fine. Okay? Dalt is like, yeah, you know what? Shit like that reminds you how short your life is.
God damn it.
Wow, what a deep philosophical thought he had there. That is not threatening in any way whatsoever.
It, for whatever reason, took me just a second longer than it should have to realize that Dalton Campbell is the guy that set Fitch and Morley in motion to do the thing to Claudine. So now that he's talking to her, she doesn't necessarily know that it was him that did that to her, but he damn well knows that he just did that to her, and this is him checking up.
What's interesting to me is that the way he speaks to her makes me unsure if he because at first it was like, oh, it's kind of a secret, right? He doesn't want her to know who did it. He wants her to just be on edge. He's just checking in. But he makes a few comments to her, and then what happens a little bit later here, it makes it seem like he's putting it in her face that it was him.
Just enough to make her think about it.
But not enough to call him out and prove it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to give her any proof, but
Yeah.
he's, he'll mention a sword. He'll mention, oh yeah, life can be precious. You'd hate for it to be snuffed out, make her start thinking, maybe, but not give her any proof.
Right.
He wants to be on her suspect list. Because, like, his next thing is, like, she's like, oh, I got my balance back. And he goes, is it, though? Is your balance back? I'm not sure it is.
Are you steady?
Yeah, are you good now?
Hmm.
This is what you see in, like, Suits. Where it's like, yeah, there's no fighting, but there is fighting.
There's
it's
barbs.
all verbal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, Dalton
Under the
knows.
surface shit.
Dalton knows he can't slap Claudine, but he can ask how she's feeling.
Yeah.
In
he
a
can
way.
make her question what she's saying
Yeah.
to
Make
the
her
general
uncomfortable.
public. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, Tess insists that she's going to tend to Claudine, so he just needs to move the fuck along and go do some other shit. The undertone here is that she's going to hang out with Claudine, so she's going to get the info that Dalt probably wants when he's
Right.
not around, because she's going to calm down a little bit, chill out.
Once the pressure of him being there is off, she can be
Yes.
like, hey, why don't just us girls chat for a
Yeah.
second? And then maybe she can get the real scoop on how
Yeah.
she's feeling.
Your husband's fucking creepy! So Dalt is very pleased with what the Haken boys have accomplished, and I think in celebration of their job well done, we should all take a little break here and raise a glass to the Haken boys.
I've never wanted beer less.
I'm pretty conflicted right now. Like, yes, on
Okay.
the beer front, but
well, yeah, I'm like, I mean, I want beer, but I don't feel good about this.
the second part,
Guys. It's fine. It's a role play exercise, okay?
Oh, we gotta fit in.
We don't actually feel this way,
Yeah.
but we're like
Oh.
we're in the story as Dalton Campbell. So
Mm.
we have to emulate his feelings, okay?
Yes, indubitably.
Right, it's fine. We don't have to feel bad. We aren't bad people,
right?
Our
right?
characters
Like Aaron
are.
said, we're just trying to fit in with the rest of the
Yeah.
folks
Right.
at the parties.
It's an exercise.
Okay.
I'm back in.
Yeah.
We'll be back right after this. Hey there, Nate. What are we drinking?
Today we are drinking Norm's Raggedy Ass IPA. This is from Griffin Claw Brewing Company. It is quite clearly an IPA of the raggedy ass nature, but it's got citrus and pine in it, which sounds interesting. The little blurb on the back says, awards have been won, pints have been drank, but when it comes down to it, this beer keeps you coming back for more hoppy goodness. Aaron? Oh, it sounds good.
Does it?
It sounds interesting. Well, I got this beer. I'll be honest. I'll tell everybody. I got this beer as an experiment because it's called Raggedy Ass. And I thought maybe they'd have a sense of humor about, if they're calling it bad, maybe it's actually pretty good and not as harsh. Citrus and pine. didn't actually sound that bad to me. But Jade, why don't you tell us what you think of this raggedy-ass IPA?
Listen, for people who like IPAs, citrusy and pine is wonderful. Hoppy is great. For people who don't like IPAs, those things are all bad. So, this is exactly what you think you're going to get. It's citrusy, it's piney, it smells that way, it's bitter, and that's it. So, it is a 4.
A 4 out of 10.
Asses.
Yeah.
And
You're more raggedy than ass, is what I'm getting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, yeah, that's it.
4 asses for Jade.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like it might be good for me to go next because just echo most of what Jade said, but I'm giving it a 9.
I kind of thought that might happen.
I like IPAs. I like citrus. I like pine. I like that hoppy goodness. I'm going to need to experiment more. It's going to be a big sacrifice on my personal life. This might be my preferred go-to IPA.
Whoa.
Now, I need to compare
I
this.
guess I'm not shocked because I just.
I need to compare this to Two Hearted because Two Hearted's my go-to IPA.
I could see that.
This tastes really good. Yeah, I mean, it's an IPA. It's hoppy. It's delicious. I like those things. It's a 9 for me, dog.
What's wrong? What happened in your life that made you think that tastes good? That's
A lot
wild.
of trauma.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Half my taste buds don't work. Should I have mentioned that earlier?
Yeah, okay.
I think they overstate the citrus for sure. The pine is very prominent, and that flavor is not always welcome by me. Just because I feel like I can taste the sawdust. Does that make sense?
Pine Sol.
It's in there, and I don't necessarily love it. But I like the crispiness of the citrus. I'm not as high as Aaron, and I'm not as low as Jade. But I think for an IPA, Norm's raggedy-ass IPA, I'll give it 6 asses. Because I don't hate it. It's not good. I'm not a huge fan of IPAs, but it's better than it is bad.
And this is why we are the 3-headed dog guarding the gates to the beer land.
That's right.
One of us tells the truth. One of us tells a lie.
And
the
one of us always drinks.
And now let's get back to the chapter. Hey guys, we came back. I'm glad you did too. Okay, so Dalton, we were talking about how he was proud of the Hagen boys. He had judged.
He was. We were not. We didn't drink that. You heard the beer break. You're fine. Never mind.
If we did, it was in character and it's fine. We were just,
that's
it was
right.
an experiment.
We're role
Anyway.
playing. Yeah. God, don't break kayfabe. It's still real to me, damn it.
God. Yeah, so he had judged Fitch correctly. He was happy about this. His eyes, when Fitch was looking at the sword, that was lust instead of fear, like Claudine was just looking at it with. Morally, just fucking mainly muscle. He's not really worried about morally, but Fitch, he can go some fucking places. He's got ambition.
Well, and it's a good one, too, for lack of a better word, punch. You got one guy with the brains, one guy with the muscle. That's a pretty classic 1-2 bad guy combo. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw bad guy in there. I'm so sorry. They're just guys.
Yeah.
They're doing a job, and they did it well according to their boss's guidelines. But that being said, for the job description, they work.
Seems effective.
Yeah. If you're going to do something, you should do it efficiently.
You guys are doing the evil thing right now. We're no, they're not bad. They're just two hardworking fellas that accomplished the task their boss sent to them. Oh, they're fucking angels.
Are just analyzing the information brought to us in this chapter.
You just don't understand.
It's good this beer is like 8%. Continue. Read your story.
So Dalt moves over to director Lynn Scott for a much-needed discussion on politics, because we haven't had enough of that lately.
Why don't we just ruin the evening now?
Yeah. So the 4 oldest directors, because there's a whole bunch of them, but the 4 oldest are a clothmaker, a papers maker guild, the master armorer, and then Lynn Scott here, the master mason. So these are all
he's the
like
builder.
Tactile worker people.
I did think it was a little bit interesting that Lynn Scott is like the head director now. Is that the case? He's like top dude?
I think he's very respected because he's one of the oldest. And so
Okay.
his words carry a lot of weight with the other directors.
So, like, when we were more involved with the Legion, we were Legion riders. We were officers.
Yeah.
But, like, there is in that case one officer who is above the rest of the officers.
Yes.
But this would be if there was no president and you're just sergeant at arms, and that's equal to anybody else, but you've been there a long time. You're kind of a respected member of that community. Dude's a Mason.
Yeah.
Right. So he's built the homes and the buildings that these people use to feel secure and to build their lives in.
Yeah. And
This guy is involved.
Yeah, he's been involved for a long time.
Yeah.
He kind of has helped guide us to where we are, so you respect his word.
The Freemasons are a thing in the real world.
Shh, careful.
And they are connected. No, I'm not a mystic about that shit. I know exactly what the Freemasons do. There is nothing weird about it. They make connections. It is what it is. They're business folks bumping elbows and doing the thing. And that's great. But that's what it is. I thought it was a little nod to them being Masons because this is like the most well-respected and interconnected member of the community. And he's a Mason.
Yeah, and they are the ones that have the final say as to like who becomes sovereign, things that happen in the community. They are like the final, you know what I mean? I can't think of words. Anyway,
nothing happens without them either knowing or straight up approving of it.
Stamping it.
You know?
Illuminati. What? Did I say it? Who said that?
So Lynn Scott himself here is not happy about the idea of the alliance with the Midlands being disbanded. Like, he doesn't want Andereth to leave the alliance.
Yeah, he seems resistant to that, which I liked.
Yeah. Dalt's argument is that they're just seeking the best terms, no more or less. Whoever has the best, outcome in front of them, that's who they're going to go with.
They're just hearing everybody out,
Yeah.
which is also a good thing.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yes, in theory.
In theory.
The theory is
Yeah.
then you hear the bad thing,
Yeah.
specifically from the IO, and then you say no. But
That would be,
But you hear everybody out first.
Dalt posits that Lynn Scott's job might be in jeopardy because of this whole fucking thing. And Lynn Scott is like, this isn't fucking about me, okay? This is about the culture and our people as a whole. I don't care if the IO comes in and knocks me out or if the Midlands comes in and I'm not a fucking director anymore. This is a threat to us as a people, you fucking dildo.
So I love the idea of Lynn Scott calling him a dildo out of nowhere. This is
I'm just going to be just fine, you dildo. Dildo.
I love that voice. That's him forever in my brain now.
I don't remember if they described him with a mustache, but he does have the biggest, bristliest mustache.
Tell me he's got the mutton cut where his
100%.
sideburns come down and
Yeah.
then fill up his cheeks.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it almost looks like the mustache and the mutton chops are connected.
The big
But
mustache.
as soon as he starts talking, because you can't see his upper lip at
Right.
all, so
Completely
it's just
gone.
the mustache flipping and
Flopping
flying
around,
all over the place.
flattering
Yeah.
around.
I love it.
Dalton is like, hey, we just want the best prospects for peace. And Lynn Scott is like, yeah, you know who else has peace? Fucking slaves. And Dalton at this point admits defeat.
Can you explain that to me? Because I didn't understand it.
If you're a slave, if you're not fighting back against your oppressors, there's peace. You aren't getting beaten down anymore. So you can have peace and be oppressed and not happy.
Oh, you mean if they're not fighting back, even though that's a terrible thing,
Right.
there is considered peace because they're not actively fighting back.
Yeah.
Stockholm syndrome.
You can avoid problems with the bad
Okay.
people by just going along with it. Yeah, that
'Cause
seems
when-
fine. You have peace. There's
Right.
no war. But
It's not good or
fucking
right
bad.
either. Yeah. When he said that, I was
It's
like,
bad for the people.
but they don't, though. They fucking work and get abused all
Yeah.
day. That's not
Yeah.
peace. But what you're saying is they're probably not good with that, but they're just letting that happen because that's the status quo.
Yeah.
And so there's quote unquote peace, but
Yeah.
there's really not.
In order to get by
I
in their
understand.
lives, they just let it happen so that they can live their lives
Mhm.
without
They-
having
do
war,
what was
quote unquote.
made to be necessary to get along.
Yes.
But it's not where they would be given a choice.
Right.
Bingo.
But they have a choice, and their choice is peace, and that's why they're slaves and not dead or escaped.
yeah.
Work your 16-hour day and don't complain. You're taken care of. You have a roof over your head. You get your 1 square meal a day, and you have a ground to sleep on. In theory, in a very loose definition, peaceful life.
You have no say in your life.
Yeah,
you have
right.
no agency in your life, but you have peace.
And I think the main part is I think this is a little bit of a clue that does get just fully revealed here or confirmed here in a second. Lynn Scott knows how to do the barbs. This is Lynn Scott saying, I don't like the Imperial Order because they use slavery. That's not the kind of peace I'm talking about. He is saying, if I lose my job, I don't care because I am a part of this community. And if we do what's best for the community, rising tide lifts all boats. I will be fine.
So does this mean that the fucking IO is the South? The Confederate fuckballs?
I mean,
Is that what we're kind of, is it a nod to that though?
I don't know if it's intended to be, but I think there are a couple of different things that you can look at it through that lens.
yeah.
And see what we're talking about here.
I do not think it is an intentional thing that it is supposed to be the South. I think this is a thing of like, if you boil down bad guys throughout real or fictional history, they have a lot of similar things.
Or oppressors.
There were tendencies
Oppressors,
on
yeah.
those sides, right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess to clarify, I don't mean to demonize the South now. Just, I know there's some folks who that matters to.
Yeah.
The folks that bit doesn't matter to and the other bit does, fuck off, I don't care. But, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're referencing the slave owners.
Correct.
So Lynn Scott's view is that going with the invaders is a knife to the heart of the Midlands. So, like, their country as a whole will be fucked if we do this. It's really fucked up for you to even consider it.
It sounds like Lord Rawl is literally in the bed of the Mother Confessor, and at least they're fucking Midlanders. Considering the Amnel Rawl Empire is preferable as insiders to considering the Imperial Order's offer, because they are outsiders.
Yeah, they're
that
trying
matters to this dude.
The Mother Confessor and Lord Rawl are trying to hold together the Midlands, and even though Lord Rawl is, I mean, we're not talking about this, but taking over the Midlands Alliance.
He is also demanding alliance.
They are trying to hold it together as opposed to break it apart. And
they're saying, hey, you're already a part of us. Let's be us.
Let's strengthen it. And so he thinks that the ancestors are rolling in their graves, hearing Dalton talk about this and consider this so fucking easily. And he says it out loud. So Dalt starts to slink away, like he's been beaten down by a Haken overlord. He's trying to prove that Lynn Scott's comments are beneath what Anders are typically supposed to be acting like. Apparently, only Hakens would demean an Ander in this way, which makes me feel like you can't really criticize other Anders, period, because this wasn't actually that bad of a comment.
It was a little blunt, but it wasn't like out of line either.
Yeah.
The dude had a point.
Yeah, how are you going to make your point on serious matters like this if you can't speak bluntly or plainly to other people? But apparently you're not allowed to, because if you do, you're a fucking cruel little Haken bitch and not an Ander.
This is one thing about Richard. I know sometimes ideologically we miss a little bit with that dude, but he has always said everybody is free to speak their mind to him. Whether he's going to like it or not, doesn't matter. Say the words. That fucking matters. And now we have an example of people who can't do that. And the way that's different to where there is one ideal where the best ideas will get to the top. They will be heard. They will be acted on. And there is another one where the best ideas are fucking quashed because dude doesn't want to hear it. He's trying to be more powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It fucks it all up.
How could you question the good? Because if you're questioning the good, you're obviously bad.
I just wanted to point out real quick the differences between this kind of hierarchy going on here in the Midlands under the control of Richard Rawl and Kaelin, but also totally different from the way they run things.
Well, and I think that also speaks to the confidence in what you're actually doing. Dalt and Bert know that the things that they are doing are not actually good. It's a facade.
Right.
So don't question the good things I'm doing because you're going to unearth things.
I think what Dalton's linking away here too is like just another kind of reminder of like Lynn Scott is upfront and he is aggressive and all of this. And Dalton kind of says it in a way of like, hey, I'm sorry that, you and I have the same wish, but for whatever reason, because it's coming from me, I'm insincere. It's the politics of it.
Yeah.
Like Lynn Scott went a little too hard and like firmly stated his position. But yeah, it's what you said. It's like, well, if you're not for my thing and my way on my time, you're bad. And so Dalton's like, I disagree, but hey, I don't want to argue. Like, I'm civilized and have discussions, not arguments.
Well, I guess that was my point. It's that the difference in the two, Richard is maybe not the best leader, right? But the difference in the way that he leads and the way that, in all ways, like just overall, like he does good things, but maybe not in the best way
Richard
all the time.
is a good man, whether I agree with some of his things or not.
Right.
Yeah, I believe that.
But the difference in the way that he does lead or allow his people to speak to him versus the way these people in Androth do is because he thinks he's doing good. He's trying to do good. You can pick apart my things. Ask me. Question me. Let's talk about it.
He literally wants the best. He doesn't care if it's his idea or not.
Right. And these people are like, don't question. We are doing good. Know that. Don't question it.
Because their ideas have to be the best.
And they know and they also know that it's not actually good. So if people start to ask questions, it's going to be bad.
It's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was his whole thing is like, I can't do this with you. You're clearly, good. Surface level, Dalton's saving face in this aggressive attack. And it's like, no, he's setting a standard that if you question me, I'm going to question your sincerity as a person for thinking I might be insincere.
Right.
Yeah, and
it's
your thought
gaslighting.
process.
Yeah, it is. But Lynn Scott doesn't let him just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps going.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't understand how a moral man would let his woman parade around with her fucking tits out.
Okay, Jade and I listened to this chapter earlier, and my gut reaction, I said it out loud. I yelled at our speaker. I was like, excuse me, sir, but my wife and her tits are none of your fucking concern, number one. And number two, that is not what we were talking about. What the shit have you been looking at this whole time?
His thing was, hey, I know you're a moral man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're not I do think this was Lynn Scott going, fuck, I lost that battle. I need to go back to fighting the war now.
Yes.
I need to play politics with Dalt.
That's where I was like, my initial reaction to that was negative.
Because also, why
would
does this man get to say his opinion on what some other woman's doing?
Me, you're the guy.
Yeah.
You should absolutely
fuck off.
Shut your fucking mouth
Let
about
people
any
live
of
their
that.
lives.
But he's also the guy and kind of has the power to do whatever the fuck he wants. But I think you're right. I think he chose a kind of harsh thing, but that opens the door, as we'll see here in a second.
Yeah.
Or more next chapter, to where he can say something blunt. And this is a skill I learned, again, kind of as an officer in the Riders. Sometimes you have to say blunt things, but you choose to say it in a different way so that nobody's feelings get hurt because you're only taking half of the good ideas you hear. Yeah.
Gotta compliment sandwich him.
Exactly.
I loved it because I thought it was a very clever way. Like, Dalton's trying to slink away and make him look like an asshole, so he softens it. He's like, I think you're a moral guy, right? If anyone's listening, I'm not being a dick to you, but he is.
Oh, he
follows it
100%
up
is.
with a giant shot at him, talking about his woman's tits and trying to embarrass him just in front of everybody. I just like that he keeps needling.
Mm-hmm.
Dalton thinks he's in control of the whole situation, and he kind of still is. But Lynn Scott
makes a good rebound here.
Lynn Scott isn't afraid, though, to loudly and bluntly keep poking at this person who thinks that they're in charge of everybody. So Lynn Scott doesn't shy away from making the comments that you want people to make to those immoral people and be like, oh,
Yeah.
you're this pinnacle of greatness. Why the fuck is your wife walking around like this if you claim to be so fucking moral and great?
He's reminding Dalton that he is not the top dog. Now, he may not have ideas that Dalton is planning on being the top dog very soon, but for right now, this dude is in charge and his way goes. It seems to us that maybe this guy's not really a bad guy. We don't know for certain yet.
Lynn Scott or Dalt?
Lynn Scott.
Okay.
Lynn Scott seems to have some pretty solid ideas.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
talking the moral line here, even though they have to, and we'll see this a little bit later and in the next chapter, they're kind of doing secret talk because they never know who's listening. But Lynn Scott seems to be a decent man, checking Dalton, who we know is not, and has a lot of fucking scruples, and is doing bad shit, which is, it's interesting to me because Lynn Scott may also be bad, and we don't fucking know. It's the layers thing. Like, everybody has been a shit so far. Lynn Scott seems like the good guy, and we'll get into it here in a bit, but like, he may not be.
Right.
I guess is all I'm saying. He really may not be, and we don't know for sure.
What if that strong aggro initial comment is full compensation? It's like, I'm going to make sure everyone hears that I care about the people. 'Cause I
Right.
fucking don't.
Because exactly.
Oh, no, for sure.
Like, I want to say this is actually the good guy in this chapter, but he may not be.
You never know, especially with people in politics.
Yeah,
Ugh.
fuck.
So with that, we need to go get another beer.
Yeah,
and
we
we'll
do.
be back right after this. And we're back! So, so Dalton actually agrees with Lynn Scott. He's like, yeah, man, I totally am on the same page with you. We fucking fought about that before we came down here. It ended with me telling her, absolutely not. You're never going to fucking wear that down there. But I don't cheat on her.
He
And-
put his foot down as the man, he said.
Yeah, but he doesn't cheat on her and would have nothing to bargain with if he wins every fight. So here we are.
At the end of the day, sir, my wife's kind of hot, and I want to have sex with her later. So I got to give her away so I can get that. And since I don't cheat on her, I kind of need to make sure that that's going to happen.
I want to get some banging in, so she gets to wear what she wants.
Plus, he gets kind of a treat at the end of the night, so it's
Yeah.
not all bad.
But he does agree. He hates the way that the young women are dressing. He doesn't like the new fashion. Him and the minister have plans to fucking change that, have a positive influence on that. Lynn Scott is like, oh, great, wonderful. We are all wonderful, moral men, and we don't cheat on our wives, and let's pat each other on the back.
Yeah.
That's great.
That kind of feels like, I think it was a Chris Rock bit where he's like, hey, I'm a man, I feed my kids. And it's like, you asshole, you're supposed to feed your kids. That doesn't make you a hero. That means you're doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this felt like.
Yeah.
Let's pat ourselves on the back for not, I mean, and not that it's a bad thing that they're congratulating each other on, but also we know it's more complicated than that.
Yeah. Let's get them women to strap them tits back up and stay in the bedrooms and the kitchens.
Well,
okay?
there's that bit of it, but there's also the bit of it from Campbell's point of view that he's saying, I don't cheat on my wife, not because I just love my wife, but because there's other things I want and other things I'm trying to achieve, so I shouldn't cheat on my wife.
Well, and he's trying to appear like a moral man.
Right,
So-
exactly, yeah. Lynn Scott is saying, I see you.
Yeah.
That's what we covered on the break. Yeah. He's aware of the game.
And so Dalt does want to introduce Lynn Scott and Tess and have him give his opinion on decency to her. So he's like, all right. They go over to go see the two women because they're still chitting and chatting. Claudine is immediately not thrilled when he comes over. But Tess is like, hey, you know what happened to her? She fell in a hole. Can you believe it?
Oh my God, she
Oh
fell
my
in a hole. It
God.
was awful.
immediately worried. He's like, you want to go back to your rooms? I'll walk you back over there. We can, I'll keep you safe. It'll be fine.
So concerned.
I think it's supposed to imply he is a safe man in the community. Nobody's worried. Because me as a woman, immediately when I read it, I was like, no, weirdo. That's fucking weird. But I think to people in the community, it's not weird because he is a respected, safe man.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah.
Right.
It's all about the way that it looks to other people at this party.
He holds every door open.
Yeah.
There is not a door that does not get held open for someone behind him. Like, that's Lynn Scott.
And it's been established that he can make shit happen. So, theoretically, if she were to go back with him and tell him what actually happened, shit would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other thing that we've kind of discussed before, Dalton knows this. So Dalton, on purpose, brought the one person Claudine wants to talk to over to her and manufactured the situation where she can be alone with him if she wants to.
Mm-hmm.
She can tell him what happened if she wants to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, here's your way out.
Yeah. Here's your opportunity. Are you going to do it? This is him proving to himself, did it work? Did I successfully fucking stamp out any flicker of rebellion in her? Is she gonna fucking talk?
Is she broken or is she not?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like you said, it was like, this is the person, or this is a person that Claudine would want to talk to. I think this is the person. He could have brought over a constable. No, we're going to go to the one person who he can go up to someone and go, we need to talk. Door's going to get shut and a talk is going to happen. Lynn Scott has that respect of the community. So yeah, it is the test, but it's the test with the single best person. Because it is like, if she doesn't take this bait, well, she ain't going to take the bait with the, she ain't going to even throw it out for the smaller fish.
If she doesn't trust this guy, she's not going to trust a cop.
Exactly.
And this is the guy she wanted. This is who she wrote the letter to initially.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I
for
forgot
the
about the
private
letter.
meeting.
Yeah.
So this is who she wanted to talk to in the first place.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And this is who, like, she could theoretically tell him, hey, your letter got intercepted. So you have an issue in your line somewhere.
Yeah.
But this is just proving to Dalt she has been broken. Because as tempted as she looks for a moment, she declines.
Well, and we know she was also instructed to not leave the party.
Right. She has to stay there for the whole party.
Yeah. So part of the threat is that she can't go with this guy, but then Dalton's giving her the opportunity to. So it's another, like, she can't. She could, but she can't.
He could say, like, do you trust that this man is going to keep you safe enough after you tell him what just happened, that tonight, when you go to bed, somebody's not going to sneak in and fucking murder you?
Right, exactly.
Because who are my connections?
No, you're being watched.
Yeah. And it's apparently successful because she's going to just hang out there. Also, when she's asked her opinion of the minister by Lynn Scott, she gives a glowing recommendation. She's like, he's a man of honor. He has good policies. He was respectful of the laws that me and Edwin, well, not me, sorry, Edwin proposed. And Lynn Scott is actually like kind of surprised by how ringing the endorsement is. And he's like, yeah, your word is just as important as Edwin's. So thank you. I will take that into consideration. Everybody knows that you make things happen. So I believe you. She thanks him. But she makes a comment about how nobody would have been missing her if she went and broke her neck tonight, which just kind of underlies for the reader and for Dalton that he was successful. She knows nobody's going to miss her if something happens to her.
She is a pawn in the game they're playing, and she is fully aware of that fact.
Yep.
It kind of lets everybody know who's here right now, where she stands. To the director, oh, I'm just a nobody. Don't worry about me, but I really do look up to you. And then to Dalton Campbell, I'm aware I am a nobody and I could disappear. At least the fact that she's still alive is not lost on her right now.
And I'm not going to tell anybody I was beat, and I'm not going to tell anybody about the minister raping me.
My mouth is shut.
Yep. You have effectively sealed that all up.
Damn.
Yeah. At this point, the seneschal appears, and dinner is served.
The what?
It's basically like the master of
Master of ceremonies.
Yeah, administrations of the household.
The steward or major domo of a medieval great house, a
Yes.
governor or other administrative judicial officer.
That's what we both said, major domo. I don't know why you had to
Major
look that
domo,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, that's clearly in our...
So that's this guy's name now.
Domo.
I will say, it felt to me that, like, up until this point in the chapter, Lynn Scott did kind of win this thing with Dalton. Was like...
He still holds the power.
Yeah.
He came out aggressive. Dalton slank away in, like, a politically respectable way. But then Lynn Scott pushed forward, got to the common ground. Everyone saw them like, oh, just maybe a minor disagreement. You know, the two people who are important in that thing, like, everything's still good. Now they're talking to wives and stuff. This whole thing is happening with Dalton knowing he's got the final chess move for checkmate.
Yeah.
And it's the thing of like, oh, yeah, it's time for dinner. Because don't you know the honored guest is here? Oh, you don't know the honored guest is here.
Oh.
Let me, as Dalton, be the one to inform you, Director Lynn Scott. There's an Imperial Order representative here tonight.
Yeah.
This would piss me off so fucking much. This is the dinner you go to when they're like, hey, enjoy a free hotel night stay on us. Come show up for a nice fancy dinner. And then you get in the room. And we've done this one time in the past. But then you get in the room and you realize, oh, there's a 2.5 hour thing I got to sit through to enjoy the free things that I've just gotten. God damn it.
See, here's the other thing. You're thinking like on a purely bored, selfish level, right?
Naturally, yeah.
Think about it from Lynn Scott's political point of view. There is Richard and the Midlands, and there is Stein and the Imperial Order. You don't want the people of your community and the people in charge to go with the Imperial Order. You don't want them to be sympathetic to that side because you genuinely believe the future lies with the alliance of the Midlands. But all of the most important people in the community are here at dinner, and they have a representative from the other side here, and he is going to speak to them all where they are sitting and comfortable with full bellies and happy days, and this is the best possible place that he could present his side. And you know who's not here? Anybody from the Midlands.
From the other side, right.
So everybody is hearing this side of the story first. This is what's coming in their ears. And so from Lynn Scott's point of view, this is the worst possible thing because it's going to be so hard to pull the minds and hearts of the people back to the Midlands after having this type of interaction with the Imperial Order first.
First impressions. And the guy's going to make it sound so sweet. But the guy's also, it's fucking Stein.
And people are stupid.
Let us not forget, fucking scalp cape guy.
Yeah. Talks good enough, makes it sound good enough, is animated enough and funny enough in front of everybody. They just might make them believe what he says.
Does a stupid little dance.
That, and do you want to know why there isn't a representative from the Midlands / Richard and Kaylin? Because Richard said join or die.
That's right.
He didn't send out representatives to have a nice discussion about what's happening. He said join or die.
Yeah.
So, like, look, sometimes you got to play the politics in these things.
Yeah.
If you're playing the politics on, what is it, King's Row, where all the palaces leading up to the Confessor's Palace are, if you're going to play those politics, man, you got to play these too. You can't just ignore that whole side of it. Never going to go well.
Yeah. Rural Midlands is really important. You can't those big,
Yeah. You can, but it's a risk.
So that's, I think, all of our wizard notes and prophecies for today.
Bad things coming. Look out.
That's our truth. And we would love to hear yours. So write to us in your journey books to podcastatt@gmail.com or find us on any of our social medias.
Glug, glug, glug.
Wonderful.
If you would like to support this podcast and hear some more wonderful exclusive content, Follow us over on patreon.com/podcastatt, where every tier is a happy tier.
Oh, they can't see my... I'm doing... never
No,
mind.
audio medium. Hey, it's been a little while. We'll give you some grace. That's okay.
Yeah, I gotta practice.
Thank you all very much for listening.
That's all for us, friends. Bye.
Hooroo!
That's Australian for goodbye.
I will take your word for it.